What's up, everyone? The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Sun Tzu wrote that 2,500 years ago, and most people still don't understand what it means. They think it's about avoiding conflict or being passive. It's not. It's about winning so strategically, so invisibly, that by the time anyone realizes you've won, the game is already over. Today, I'm breaking down 16 invisible warfare tactics from the art of war that let you win every power game, at work, in business, in relationships, in any competitive dynamic, without anyone realizing you're even playing. While others exhaust themselves in obvious battles, burning energy and reputation fighting visible wars, you'll operate on a completely different level. You'll win through positioning, timing, and psychological leverage. No confrontation, no drama, no evidence trail, just inevitable victory that feels natural to everyone watching. These aren't theories from an ancient text. These are practical, applicable tactics you can use starting today to completely change how you navigate power dynamics. By the end of this video, you'll see competition differently. You'll stop fighting directly and start winning invisibly. Let's get into it. Before we dive into the 16 tactics, you need to understand Sun Tzu's core philosophy that makes all of this work. The art of war isn't about fighting, it's about winning with minimal conflict. Sun Tzu believed the best generals won wars without ever fighting battles. How? Through superior strategy, positioning, timing, and understanding of psychology. He wrote, "To fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting." Applied to modern life, this means achieving your goals: career advancement, competitive advantage, influence, respect, without engaging in visible power struggles that damage relationships, drain energy, and create lasting enemies. Why does invisible warfare work better than direct competition? 3 reasons. First, visible competition creates resistance. When people see you as a threat or competitor, they mobilize against you. When you operate invisibly, there's no resistance because there's no perceived threat. Second, direct conflict costs both sides. Even if you win a visible battle, you've spent resources, made enemies, and damaged relationships. Invisible winning costs you nothing. Third, obvious victories create resentment and future opposition. Invisible victories feel inevitable or natural, creating no backlash. Sun Tzu organized his thinking around key principles: know yourself, know your opponent, control terrain, master timing, shape perceptions. We're going to explore 16 specific tactics organized into 4 categories based on what element of competition they leverage: positioning, timing, perception, and psychology. Each tactic will include the philosophical principle, modern application, and how to implement it practically. Category 1. Positioning tactics. Sun Tzu said, "The good fighters of old first put themselves beyond the possibility of defeat and then waited for an opportunity of defeating the enemy." These tactics are about positioning yourself so advantageously that victory becomes inevitable before competition even begins. Tactic 1. The terrain advantage. Sun Tzu, know the ground, know the weather. Your victory will then be total. Modern application, control the environment and context of competition, not the competitor themselves. Here's how this works. Instead of trying to outperform someone directly in their strong area, you change what environment the competition happens in. Workplace example. Your colleague excels at presentations. Instead of trying to outpresent them, you position yourself as the person who defines what metrics matter. You shift terrain from who presents best to who delivers measurable results. Now, you're competing on your terms. You controlled terrain. Business example. Competitor has better prices. Instead of competing on price, you shift terrain to customer experience, customization, or premium positioning. You changed what the competition is about, the psychological principle. Whoever defines the battlefield defines the victory conditions. People who fight on others' chosen terrain lose. People who choose terrain win without fighting. Implementation. Before entering any competition, ask, "What terrain favors me?" Then find ways to shift competition to that terrain. Don't fight where they're strongest. Change what strongest means. Tactic 2. The illusion of choice. Sun Tzu. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. Let the enemy see what they wish to see. Modern application. Give opponents or competitors choices where every option benefits you. They feel they're deciding, but you've already won regardless of their choice. Example. Your toxic boss wants to assign you to either Project A or Project B. Both are setups for failure designed to make you look bad. Instead of fighting the assignment directly, you introduce Project C as a compromise that you've strategically positioned to showcase your strengths. You gave them the illusion of choosing between their options while actually getting your preferred outcome. Business negotiation. Client wants to negotiate price down. Instead of fighting on price, you offer 3 packages: premium with everything, standard with most features, basic with essentials. They feel they're choosing between options, but all 3 are profitable for you, and you've framed premium as the reference point, making standard look reasonable. The psychological principle. People resist being told what to do but accept outcomes they feel they chose. If you shape the available options strategically, their choice leads to your victory. Implementation. When entering negotiation or conflict, don't present one outcome. Present multiple options you've designed where all paths lead to acceptable results for you. They choose, you win. Tactic 3. The strategic withdrawal. Sun Tzu. There are roads which must not be followed, armies which must not be attacked, towns which must not be besieged, positions which must not be contested. Modern application. Sometimes the winning move is not playing. Tactical retreat or withdrawal that looks like losing, but positions you for inevitable victory. Example. Your manipulative colleague is trying to drag you into public conflict about project responsibility. They want you to fight because either outcome damages you. If you fight and win, you look difficult. If you lose, you look weak. Strategic withdrawal. You decline to engage. Say, "You're absolutely right, this is your area of expertise," and let them take full ownership. Now, when the project inevitably has problems due to their poor execution, you're clean and they own the failure completely. You won by not fighting. Competitive business. Rival company enters your market with aggressive pricing trying to provoke price war. Strategic withdrawal. You exit that market segment temporarily. Let them burn resources fighting for low-margin customers and focus on higher-value segments they can't reach. When they're exhausted from unprofitable price war, you re-enter on your terms. Psychological principle. Not every battle deserves fighting. Sometimes you win by letting opponents exhaust themselves conquering territory that doesn't matter while you position for what does. Implementation. Before entering conflict, ask, "What happens if I don't engage?" Often the answer is, "They defeat themselves and I remain clean." That's strategic withdrawal. Tactic 4. The invisible presence. Sun Tzu. Be extremely subtle, even to the point of formlessness. Be extremely mysterious, even to the point of soundlessness. Thereby, you can be the director of the opponent's fate. Modern application. Influence outcomes without visible presence. Win from behind the scenes so thoroughly that no one even knows you were involved. Example. You want a policy change at work, but suggesting it directly will create resistance because of office politics. Invisible presence. You plant the idea separately with 3 different influential people in casual conversations, each time framing it as something you heard or a question about feasibility. Within 2 weeks, one of them proposes it as their idea in a meeting. Policy changes. You got the outcome without being visible. relationship dynamics. You want your partner to choose a certain vacation destination, but suggesting it directly might create resistance. You invisibly expose them to positive content about that location. Send them an article, mention a friend went there, watch a show featuring it. 2 weeks later, they suggest it. You won without appearing to influence. Psychological principle. People resist direct influence but accept ideas they feel they generated themselves. If you can plant seeds invisibly and let them think it's their idea, you get the outcome without resistance or credit needs. Implementation. For important objectives, ask, how do I achieve this without my involvement being visible? Often the answer involves planting ideas, shaping options for others, or creating conditions where your desired outcome emerges naturally. Category 2. Timing tactics. Sun Tzu wrote, "The clever combatant imposes his will on the enemy, but does not allow the enemy's will to be imposed on him." These tactics are about controlling when action happens, striking when defenses are down, and using time itself as a weapon. Tactic 5. The patience. Ambush Sun Tzu. He who is prudent and lies in wait for an enemy who is not, will be victorious. Modern application. Don't act when you're ready. Act when they're vulnerable. Wait for the perfect moment when their defenses are down, attention is elsewhere, or they're overconfident. Workplace example. Your rival colleague is gunning for your position. Instead of fighting them directly when they're prepared and political support is mobilized, you wait. You wait until they make a small mistake on a visible project. You wait until they're distracted by personal issues. You wait until they've just succeeded and are overconfident. Then you make your move. Not against them, but positioning yourself for opportunities they can't respond to because they're dealing with their vulnerability. Business negotiation. Client wants to negotiate terms. Most people negotiate immediately. Patience ambush. You wait. You wait until they've publicly committed to timeline. You wait until they're under pressure from their own stakeholders. You wait until days before their deadline. Now your leverage is maximum and their flexibility is minimum. You get better terms because timing was perfect. Psychological principle. Everyone has moments of weakness, distraction, or reduced capacity. Striking when someone is at full strength is inefficient. Waiting for the moment of vulnerability, which always comes, makes victory effortless. Implementation. When you have an objective, identify your target. Then, instead of acting immediately, watch and wait. What's their cycle? When are they overextended? When do they let their guard down? Strike then. Tactic 6. The opportunity recognition. Sun Tzu. Opportunities multiply as they are seized. Modern application. Most people miss opportunities because they're looking for big, obvious ones. Invisible warfare means recognizing small opportunities others overlook and converting them into significant advantages. Example. There's a leadership vacuum in your team because your boss is focused elsewhere. Most people don't notice or care. Opportunity recognition. You step into that vacuum quietly by starting to coordinate the team, send organizing emails, schedule alignment meetings. Within 3 weeks, you're the de facto team leader without anyone formally appointing you. When formal leadership discussion happens, you're the obvious choice because you're already doing it. No competition. Market example. Competitor makes a small policy change that annoys a specific customer segment. Most companies don't notice or think it's too small to matter. Opportunity recognition. You immediately reach out to that segment with a tailored offer addressing their frustration. You capture market share while competitor doesn't even realize they created an opening. Psychological principle. Big opportunities are obvious and competed for. Small opportunities are overlooked but compound into major advantages. Winners see what others miss. Implementation. Develop habitual awareness. Constantly ask, what small opening just appeared? Most people wait for big opportunities and compete heavily. You seize small ones continuously and avoid competition entirely. Tactic 7. The premature victory trap. Sun Tzu. If your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him. Pretend to be weak, that he may grow arrogant. Modern application. Let opponents celebrate victory before it's secure, then strike when they've relaxed. People who think they've won stop defending and become vulnerable. Example: your competitive coworker thinks they've secured the promotion you both wanted. They become visibly relaxed and confident. This is exactly when you quietly present your case to decision makers, not as competing, but as showing value for a different role. That just happens to interest leadership more. They celebrated too early and weren't defending anymore. You won after they thought they'd won. Business scenario. Competitor thinks they've locked in a major client based on preliminary conversations. They reduce effort and attention because they feel it's secured, and this is precisely when you enter with a compelling offer and full attention. You win the client because competitor assumed it was over and stopped competing. Psychological principle. Premature confidence is the most dangerous vulnerability. The moment people think they've won is when they're most defeatable. If you can encourage them to celebrate early, they hand you the advantage. Implementation. When competing, don't make final victory obvious. Let opponents think they're winning until the very last moment when it's too late for them to respond. Their premature relaxation is your advantage. Tactic 8. The momentum hijacking. Sun Tzu. Energy may be likened to the bending of a crossbow, decision to the releasing of a trigger. Modern application. Don't create your own momentum from scratch. Hijack existing momentum and redirect it to serve your objectives. Way more efficient than building from zero. Example: your company is enthusiastic about a new initiative that doesn't directly help you. Instead of fighting it or ignoring it, you hijack the momentum. You find a way to tie your project or goals to that initiative. My proposal actually supports the new initiative perfectly by addressing X component. Now, their enthusiasm becomes your momentum. You're carried along by energy you didn't have to create. Social dynamics. There's a trending conversation or topic in your industry. Instead of starting your own conversation from scratch requiring massive effort to gain attention, you hijack the momentum. You enter the existing conversation with a unique angle or valuable addition. You get visibility by riding wave of attention already flowing. Psychological principle. Creating momentum requires enormous energy. Redirecting existing momentum requires minimal energy with maximum result. Smart strategists redirect. They don't build from scratch. Implementation. Before launching any initiative, ask, what momentum already exists that I can redirect toward my objective? Often there's a trend, project, enthusiasm, or conversation you can tie into rather than starting cold. Category 3. Perception tactics. Sun Tzu said, all warfare is based on deception. These tactics are about controlling what people believe, what they expect, and what they see, which is often more powerful than controlling what actually happens. Tactic 9. The reputation, positioning. Sun Tzu. Build your opponent a golden bridge to retreat across. But applied differently, build yourself a reputation that fights battles before you arrive. Modern application. Invest in reputation positioning, so your legend precedes you and shapes interactions before they even begin. When your reputation does the work, you expend minimal energy. Example: you develop reputation as the person who always delivers under pressure. This reputation is cultivated through selective high-visibility successes. Now, when crisis happens, people automatically turn to you. You didn't compete for the opportunity. Your reputation volunteered you. Your legend fought the battle for inclusion. Leadership positioning. You build reputation as calm in conflict, through consistent demonstration in small, visible moments. When major conflict erupts, Your reputation means people naturally look to you for leadership without you having to campaign or compete for it. The room gives you authority because your reputation preceded you. Psychological principle. People make decisions based on reputation and previous patterns before considering present facts. If you strategically build the right reputation, it fights your battles automatically. Implementation. Identify what reputation would make your objectives easier. Then systematically demonstrate that quality in visible ways until it becomes your established identity. Let the reputation do the competing for you. Tactic 10. The expectation management, Sun Tzu. Humble yourself before battle to receive the enemy's attack without fear. Modern application. Deliberately manage expectations low, then exceed them strategically. Under-promise and over-deliver isn't just advice, it's invisible warfare. Example: new project with unrealistic timeline. Everyone else promises aggressive delivery to look good. You promise realistic timeline with built-in buffer, then deliver early. They miss deadlines looking desperate. You deliver early looking competent. You won by managing expectations while they competed on promises. Client management. Competitor promises the world to win client. You promise less but guarantee delivery. When competitor inevitably fails to deliver their promises, client's disappointment drives them to you. You didn't compete on promises. You competed on reliability through expectation management. Psychological principle. Exceeded expectations create more satisfaction than high expectations met. Unmet high expectations create resentment. Control expectations, and you control satisfaction regardless of actual performance. Implementation. When entering new relationship, project, or commitment, resist urge to promise maximum to impress. Promise realistic or conservative, then strategically exceed. You'll win through consistent exceeded expectations while others lose through unmet promises. Tactic 11. The selective visibility, Sun Tzu. When strong, avoid them. If of high morale, depress them. Applied to visibility. Control when and where you're visible to maximum strategic effect. Modern application. Don't be constantly visible. Be visible precisely when it benefits you, and invisible when it doesn't. Strategic presence. Example: there's controversial debate happening at work. Most people either avoid it, making them invisible when it matters, or constantly engage, exhausting their credibility. Selective visibility. You're silent during the messy argument phase, then become visible with the synthesizing solution when everyone's tired. You get credit for solving without being damaged by the conflict. You controlled when you appeared. Social media strategy. Competitors post constantly, diluting their message. Selective visibility. You post only when you have something genuinely valuable, making each appearance impactful. Your selective visibility creates anticipation and authority that constant presence never could. Psychological principle. Constant presence leads to being overlooked or taken for granted. Strategic presence, being visible exactly when impactful, creates perception of importance and significance. Implementation. Track where you're spending visibility, attention, presence. Cut 80% that doesn't serve strategic objectives. Concentrate visibility in the 20% of moments that matter most. Your selective presence will have more impact than others' constant presence. Tactic 12. The attribution. Redirection, Sun Tzu. The pinnacle of military deployment approaches the formless. Most formless attribution. Let others take credit for foundations you built. Modern application. Strategically allow others to take credit for your setup, knowing the long-term benefits serve you regardless of who gets credit. This is advanced. Example: you identify that a process change would benefit your team and position you well long-term. Instead of proposing it yourself, creating resistance and political complexity, You plant the idea with a senior leader who will propose it and take credit. Process changes. You benefit from implementation. Leader thinks it was their idea and becomes your inadvertent ally. You won without credit. Innovation in organizations. You develop an innovative approach, but your role makes it politically difficult to get buy-in. Attribution, redirection. You share the idea with a well-positioned colleague who can champion it, allowing them credit for the concept. Idea gets implemented, you benefit from being the expert in the new approach, colleague becomes your ally because you made them look good. Psychological principle. Most people desperately need credit and recognition. If you can separate getting credit from getting the outcome you want, you become infinitely more effective. Let others have credit. You take results. Implementation. For important objectives, ask, do I need credit or do I need the outcome? If outcome matters more, find someone who will champion your idea if they get credit. Their ego becomes your vehicle. Category 4. Psychological tactics. Sun Tzu said, "The whole secret lies in confusing the enemy, so that he cannot fathom our real intent." These final tactics operate at the psychological level, making you unreadable, unshakable, and ultimately unbeatable. Tactic 13. The emotional neutrality. Sun Tzu. He who can modify his tactics in relation to his opponent and thereby succeed in winning may be called a heaven-born captain. But first, never show what affects you. Modern application: maintain absolute emotional neutrality in competitive dynamics. Don't show what bothers you, excites you, threatens you, or motivates you. Become psychologically unreadable. Example: colleague discovers your weakness or insecurity and tries to exploit it to throw you off. Emotional neutrality. You show zero reaction. No defensiveness, no anger, no hurt. Your complete neutrality makes them question if they actually found a weakness or misjudged. They lose confidence in their tactic and stop using it. You won by showing nothing. Negotiation scenario. Counterpart makes offer designed to provoke either excitement or anger, trying to gauge your desperation level. Emotional neutrality. Your face and response show nothing. Complete neutral reception. Now they have no information about whether their offer is compelling or insulting. They can't calibrate their next move because you gave them no data. Your neutrality is your power. Psychological principle. Emotions telegraph information to opponents about what works against you. If you show nothing, they're blind. Fighting a blind opponent is easy. Implementation. Practice neutral face and neutral responses in low-stakes situations. When something bothers you, show nothing. When something excites you, show nothing. Over time, you become unreadable, giving opponents no information about how to affect you. Tactic 14. The calculated unpredictability. Sun Tzu. Do not repeat the tactics which have gained you one victory, but let your methods be regulated by the infinite variety of circumstances. Modern application. Be systematically unpredictable so opponents can't pattern match your behavior and counter you. Predictability is vulnerability. Example: your competitive colleague has learned your patterns, how you respond to challenges, what projects you gravitate toward, when you're most active. They're using this predictability to stay ahead of you. Calculated unpredictability. You intentionally break your patterns. Take on unexpected projects. Respond differently to similar situations. Show up in surprising contexts. Now they can't predict or preempt you. Your unpredictability forces them to react instead of prepare. Business strategy. Competitors have analyzed your market behavior and can predict your moves. Calculated unpredictability. You enter an unexpected market segment, launch a product that doesn't fit your pattern, or partner with an unlikely ally. Competitors who built strategies around your predictable behavior are now wrong-footed. Psychological principle. Humans are pattern-matching machines. We predict based on previous behavior. If you're consistently inconsistent in strategic ways, you become impossible to counter because prediction fails. Implementation. Identify your patterns. What you always do, how you typically respond, your usual strategies. Then deliberately violate them occasionally. Create enough variety that pattern matching fails for opponents trying to predict you. Tactic. 15. The mirror response. Sun Tzu. Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. Modern application. Adapt perfectly to opponent's energy and style, reflecting it back so flawlessly they can't find friction to push against. You become unfightable because there's nothing to fight. Example. Aggressive colleague tries to provoke conflict with aggressive energy. Most people either fight back, giving them the conflict they want, or withdraw, letting them dominate. Mirror response. You match their aggression exactly. Not escalating, not retreating, perfectly mirroring. This creates a strange stalemate where they're essentially fighting themselves. They stop because it's not working. You won by giving them nothing to push against. Negotiation. Counterpart comes in with high-pressure, fast-talking energy trying to overwhelm you into quick concessions. Mirror response. You match their speed and energy, talking just as fast, matching their intensity. Now, instead of overwhelming you, they're in a matched intensity conversation where pressure doesn't work. They have to slow down and negotiate legitimately. You won by reflecting their tactic back. Psychological principle. People find resistance or submission. When you perfectly mirror, you give them neither. They're pushing against themselves. It's psychologically disorienting and they abandon the tactic. Implementation. When someone comes at you with specific energy or tactic, don't resist and don't submit. Match it exactly. Reflect it back like a mirror. Watch how quickly they abandon it when it doesn't create the dynamic they expected. Tactic. 16. The supreme excellence. Sun Tzu. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Final and highest tactic. Win so invisibly, so completely, so strategically that opponents don't even realize they've been in competition with you. This is the integration of all 15 previous tactics into one supreme approach. Modern application. Operate at a level where your victories feel natural and inevitable to everyone, including those who lost. No resentment, no awareness of having been outmaneuvered, just acceptance of outcome as if it couldn't have been any other way. Example. You want the promotion your colleague also wants. Supreme excellence. You don't compete directly for the promotion. Instead, over months you position yourself as indispensable to the company as future direction through invisible tactics, terrain control, timing, reputation positioning, selective visibility. When promotion decision happens, it's not even a competition. You're the obvious choice. Your colleague doesn't feel they lost a competition. They feel the situation naturally evolved that way. You won without fighting. Business market dominance. Competitor enters your space. Supreme excellence. You don't fight them directly. You use positioning tactics to control terrain they need, timing tactics to strike when they're vulnerable, perception tactics to make their offering seem inevitable to fail, psychological tactics to make them doubt their own strategy. Within a year, they exit the market because it wasn't the right fit. They don't think you defeated them. They think they made a strategic choice. That's supreme excellence. Relationship dynamics. Partner is using manipulation tactics to control you. Supreme excellence. You don't fight the tactics directly or call them out dramatically. You use invisible warfare. Emotional neutrality makes their tactics ineffective. Strategic withdrawal removes their targets. Patience gives them rope to expose their own behavior. Selective visibility controls when they can affect you. Within months, the dynamic has shifted completely. They don't realize you defeated their manipulation. They think the relationship naturally evolved, or they changed their own behavior. You won without fighting. Psychological principle. The highest form of victory is when even the defeated don't realize they competed or lost. When your victory feels inevitable, natural, or even beneficial to those who lost, you've achieved supreme excellence. There's no resentment, no revenge-seeking, no future opposition, just acceptance. Implementation. This is not a single tactic, but the mastery of combining all previous tactics so seamlessly that your strategy itself becomes invisible. You're not using tactics. You're operating at a strategic level where you shape reality itself to flow toward your objectives. It requires patience, emotional control, strategic thinking, and the discipline to never need visible credit or recognition. The goal isn't to defeat enemies. It's to achieve objectives so efficiently that enemy opposition never even forms. Before we conclude, I need to address the philosophy and ethics of invisible warfare directly. Sun Tzu was not teaching cruelty or destruction. He was teaching efficiency and wisdom. His entire philosophy rests on achieving objectives with minimum conflict, minimum casualties, maximum preservation of relationships and resources. Here's the ethical framework for using these tactics. First, these are for legitimate competition and self-defense. Use them to advance your career fairly, protect yourself from manipulation, compete in business ethically, or navigate complex dynamics. Don't use them to harm innocent people or achieve unethical objectives. Second, Sun Tzu believed the best general never fights. If you can achieve your objective without anyone losing, that's superior to victory through defeat. These tactics should make you so effective that you rarely need to engage in harmful competition. Third, invisible warfare is about intelligence, not deception in the manipulative sense. You're not lying or betraying. You're being strategically intelligent about how you position, time, and execute. Fourth, the goal is sustainable outcomes. Quick wins through visible conflict often create long-term problems. Invisible wins create sustainable outcomes because they minimize resistance and resentment. Fifth, power used wisely preserves relationships. These tactics let you achieve objectives while keeping relationships intact because people don't realize they were in competition with you. Finally, the ultimate goal isn't domination, it's efficiency. If you can achieve your legitimate objectives with less conflict, less energy expenditure, and less damage to all parties, that's wisdom. That's what Sun Tzu taught. Use these tactics to be effective, not harmful. To be strategic, not manipulative. To win without fighting because fighting itself is inefficient. Let's bring this together. You've now learned 16 invisible warfare tactics organized into 4 categories. Positioning tactics that make victory inevitable before competition begins. Timing tactics that strike when defenses are down. Perception tactics that control what people believe and expect. And psychological tactics that make you unreadable and unbeatable. Here's how to integrate this into your life strategically. First, identify your current competitive dynamics. Where are you in visible competition that's exhausting you? Career advancement, business competition, relationship power struggles, social dynamics. Name it specifically. Second, choose 2 to 3 tactics from different categories that apply to your situation. Don't try all 16. Be strategic. If you're competing for advancement, maybe you need terrain advantage, opportunity recognition, and reputation positioning. If you're dealing with manipulation, maybe emotional neutrality, strategic withdrawal, and mirror response. Third, commit to invisible operation. This means patience. These tactics work over time through strategic positioning, not immediate visible victories. You're playing a different game than others. Fourth, practice emotional neutrality and detach from need for visible credit. The more you need recognition and immediate results, the less effective these tactics become. Fifth, document nothing about using these tactics. They work because they're invisible. The moment you tell people, "I'm using Sun Tzu tactics on you," they stop working. Finally, remember Sun Tzu's ultimate principle: win without fighting. If you find yourself in constant visible battles, you're doing it wrong. These tactics should make your life smoother, less confrontational, more efficient, not turn you into a manipulative game player. You're becoming strategically intelligent, not strategically harmful. If this video revealed the strategic level you want to operate at, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. Share this with someone who's exhausting themselves in visible power struggles who needs to learn invisible warfare. And subscribe, because we're diving deep into ancient wisdom applied to modern competition. Next video is going to be Marcus Aurelius' Stoic tactics for becoming psychologically unbreakable. Drop a comment below telling me which of these 16 tactics you're implementing first. Be specific about your situation and which category: positioning, timing, perception, or psychology fits your current challenge. Your comment might help someone else identify their strategy. And if you want to go deeper on any of these specific tactics, let me know in comments which one you want a dedicated video on. Here's your action step for this week. Identify one current competition or power dynamic you're exhausting yourself with visible fighting. Then choose one invisible tactic from this video and implement it. Don't announce it. Don't make it obvious. Just apply it and observe what happens when you stop fighting and start positioning. Watch how the game changes when you're no longer playing the game others see. Remember Sun Tzu's wisdom. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Stop fighting. Start winning invisibly. I'll see you in the next video.